So us two are running a bit behind our planned schedule for this. So today we're going to talk about both episode 5 and episode 6 in the same recording. Somebody's in the kitchen slamming utensils downstairs, so that's probably going to get caught up in my microphone. But anyways, yeah. It sort of works out because we both collectively decided that episode 5 wasn't too much to talk about. Or at least from my perspective, I would rather not talk about it because it's just...
You don't like the fart one?
I mean, there was humor to it, but just overall, like, it was the fart one. The fart
it
one.
It was the fart one, yeah.
In terms of an episode. I mean, the most surprising thing about it was the elimination. My note for that episode. Sort of towards the end of it, like, maybe the last, like, 5 minutes or so is when they, like, suddenly decided to, like, remind us of a lot of the continuity stuff. But, like, the other main portion of the episode really didn't have much of that stuff going on. Like, I feel like very suddenly in that episode it was like, oh, remember MK can look at the confessionals, don't forget that, like we gotta remind you of that, even though like that hasn't been relevant to the plot at all of this whole episode.
Yeah, I said this after we watched it, but I definitely think this is the weakest episode of the season
so far.
None of the
gulp.
No, it's the weakest one. It has to be. It had a few funny jokes in it, but like when 90% of the episode is one joke, it's like, okay, on to the next thing, on to the next one. And it wasn't even like they used the same fart joke in like new and interesting ways. It was like they fart. And then, yeah. I mean, I guess at the end they used it, like, for an explosion, which is, like... Okay, so they have two jokes that they spend 90% of the runtime doing. I haven't seen anyone's thoughts on any of these episodes so far. In my soul, we are agreeing with the popular consensus.
The general public of people that, like, don't specifically have nostalgia for Total Drama are probably, like, the show's, like, mostly potty humor. And, like... I mean, kind of. I mean, they do confessionals in a dirty outhouse. Like that takes up a lot of time in like every episode. But it's like this episode specifically just kind of proves like the bias that people would have that like the show is just fart jokes. It's like no, just this one episode specifically was fart jokes. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's an episode that I would loathe on a rewatch.
Yeah.
Like, I was already not really... I was kind of excited for it to be over. This time, I don't know.
Yeah. It made my stomach hurt. You're using some gross stomach churning sound effects in there.
Good work on the Foley artist for this one.
Yeah. They must have had Ripper's voice actor actually fart in the studio.
Yeah.
All right, I don't want to talk about farts anymore.
Well, okay. You don't have to, but I'm going to finish this episode, I guess.
Yeah, no.
Ripper, he lived. He made it through this episode.
That's what I was going to bring up. It's a good subversion that they make it seem very much like...
Yeah, like it's his episode.
It's his episode, so usually that means, like, depending on what the main character does, that they get voted off, and there was good reason for him to be voted off, but then they surprise us and have it be Damien, which upsets me because I liked him. But I mean, it's a clever, little play that like he wanted to be voted off. By the end of this episode, he realizes that he wants to stay because he thinks he stands a chance. But then because he was so useful, everybody did what he wanted to do in the beginning and voted him off. Like, it's pretty funny.
It is. I thought his, like, buttons were really cool looking. Time to get merch of those.
Yeah.
Wear it to a convention. Give it out.
Uh-huh.
I guess this goes for this episode and next episode. But because we have less to talk about this episode, I'm just going to say it now. I feel like none of the eliminations so far, maybe there's been, like, one, but I feel like none of them have been the obvious way that they're going to go, which I think is cool. It definitely feels like this is, like, a few seasons into the show instead of like season 1. Like, it feels like these people kind of know what the game is and they're like, okay, let's like, actually try and win and use strategy.
Well, you talked about it before. They're trying to like have Chef explain out reasons why 3 or 4 characters deserve to be voted off. So like it does always leave a bit like a good amount of room for wondering what's going to happen. So far, like Scary Girl's elimination has maybe been the only one that was like super blatant, like she was going to get voted off. The 2 episodes that we just watched, I think definitely the votes were versus
both times I thought it was going the other way.
Yeah.
So I guess we can get into episode 6. We keep on talking about it. Might as well get into specifics. Episode 5, whatever. Pass.
So my one other note about episode 5 is that it's weird that maybe it was on purpose to like point to the fact that he was going to get voted off. But it was weird to me that Priya like was very like blushy towards Damien at the beginning of the episode, but then later on she like specifically said something where like she wasn't romantically interested or whatever. But I felt like that's what the episode started building up. But I guess it was more so just meant to be like, oh, okay, she's starting to like just like him in general, so that's why she ended up like leading the vote to vote him off.
It's a subversion.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly what was said, but I feel like she said something where it was like she wasn't romantically interested in him, even though like they were weirdly teasing that at the very start.
I mean, I interpreted the beginning as her just being embarrassed in general and not necessarily because of him.
Yeah, maybe. But anyways, yeah, okay. That's episode 5. That's the fart one.
I can't believe the fart one became like a plot thing in our podcast. It paid off.
Ripper's still here, so what's he gonna do to get voted off? Or is he gonna win? Gulp.
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 He won't. He can't.
It also just was kind of a boring. Like, I don't know. The dinosaurs were a cute like.
Oh yeah,
thing.
I was gonna say the dinosaurs were well designed.
Like, they were. I liked them. They were funny.
Oh, that was when Julia had her like outburst.
Julia roasting that one, and then he like goes and cries alone in the cave. Like that was all funny stuff. But just like in general, the challenge itself was just escape the dinosaurs. Like there wasn't much of a rule set or anything. The challenge is like
off-brand Redonkulous race.
Yeah, and I feel like that's not really the first. Like we're not that many episodes in, anyways. But I feel like there has been a noticeable amount of challenges that are like extremely simple. But maybe it's just because there's like a smaller cast in the season or something. Not really too much of a problem, but I just feel like sometimes they seemed a bit too simple.
I think that the previous challenges, though, despite being simple, they just had a lot of character interaction. Mm-hmm. And like fun character interaction and just drama. This one, it was just, I'm farting, oh no. And then everyone's like, stop it. That's gross. Oh no, now I am. Oh no.
Alright, we can stop talking.
yeah, please start episode 6 so we can...
Episode 6 was the Angry Birds episode, like you said.
It was good. I liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was a good parallel to episode 5. I'm glad that we ended off on 6 and not 5.
Yes. I like 6. I mean, I'm surprised we just talked about 5 for like 10 minutes, though. I didn't. Really
Me too. We were like, let's not talk about it for 10 minutes, and then we did it anyway. And now we're still doing it. We're still okay. Episode 6. They have catapults. Chase had plot. Had lore.
He didn't get voted off. It was kind of like one of those things that was the way he started off. It was like that blatant, like, okay, he's going to ruin it and they're going to lose. But then they didn't. Good on them for that.
Emma was hyped about it.
Emma lore, Julia lore, MK lore. I mean, pretty much lore for everybody. I mean, with Raj kissed Bowie, like, that's a big deal.
And Wayne saw it.
I was seeing a lot of... They did a news article or something about Bowie. Like, I kept scrolling past some, like, interview or something about the fact that there's gay representation in this. So, that's good, but also the show's not out. Like, the show's not even out yet, technically.
Yeah, I've been trying not to look at anything. Also, not to go back to the fart one, but Wayne also said the word "bi" in a cartoon in that episode.
Did he? When?
I mean, maybe it was in episode 6, but he was like, "Oh, he's gonna come out to me as gay or bi or something."
Okay, I missed that, but that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, "Whoa, oh my goodness!"
Even just the fact that they're saying gay is crazy to me.
Yeah,
Like,
it just feels like they're real people. Like, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of insane how much this show is like kind of taking a step up from its previous few seasons.
just like we've talked about before, like this just feels like such a natural, like modern version of this. Like the only thing that is like still tone deaf is like the fact that there was just an episode about farting. But like other than that, everything seems like perfectly modernized for what the show is. We probably mentioned it before too, that just like I wonder if they're gonna put this on TV, like if they're gonna put this on Cartoon Network, like the TV channel, or not, or just have it be on Max. It's called Max now. That's the whole thing. But because of that, because it's not like Steven Universe ever says gay. Steven Universe had like those little Dove like shampoo commercials or whatever. I don't know if they said like LGBT terms in those, but I feel like those were on TV, but maybe they weren't. I don't know. This is a whole this is just like a meta thing to talk about, but it's just something I wondered about.
Curious. Anyway, MK's episode.
Yeah, it was
MK's episode. Am shocked solely because she gave me, like, even before like I started watching and I just saw the cast, I was like, she's a finalist, like, for sure, for totally sure. She's definitely a finalist. I
just feel like there's still so much room for there to have been stuff like to do with her gimmick, but then Bowie just throws her phone in the ocean, and it's like this episode doesn't imply that anybody goes to get it or anything like that, but like maybe that could still happen. But I feel like they kind of literally just like threw it all away. Like it only ends up affecting Julia pretty much, and like even the way that Julia came out to try to reveal it, it seemed like such an obvious, like, oh, okay, now everyone's gonna think that Julia stole it, and she's like pinning the blame on MK, but no, I guess not.
That's what I thought as well.
It's a subversion, I guess, but it's one that I feel like it would have worked better if they just went the direction of having Julia be the one that everyone thinks was the liar, and then we could keep going with MK's secretive nonsense. But I guess I
am curious if there is any way in which it's still in play. Like maybe Julia has it, like those videos backed up on the cloud or whatever, and so she's gonna like use them against everyone. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have it. It remains to be seen, but it was just a weird little surprise. Like, because I can agree with you that it definitely seemed like MK would have been more significant, especially because of how much they've been playing up that gimmick of hers, and I feel like it never really had like a big effect yet. But also, there's kind of not really that much like drama between the characters, anyways. The way that like older seasons had, like, there's not really relationship stirring or like anything where like seeing a confessional would be a really big deal to people's opinions of other people.
Yeah, because I guess the biggest one was Julia and her like yoga perception.
Yeah, her fake
but that persona already
which honestly I would want to see more of her being like her real self or whatever. Like I feel like that there's enough room for that to be present in more than just this episode.
Well, good. Fortunately for you, yeah. She is safe.
Yeah.
We also didn't get to like see the entirety of Tribal Council. It just skips right to when it's like it's MK or Julia.
A lot happened in the episode though, so that's just a matter of like timing.
I know, but like it still felt weird to me, at least. I don't know.
Episode 6 was a good challenge too, like compared to what
compared to episode 5, yeah. Millie had like a bunch of stuff in these few episodes.
Yeah.
As well as Priya. Like those two, I also think they're gonna go far.
Yeah, and now they're besties.
And now
one of them's gonna get voted off in the next episode that we watch, I'm sure.
We'll see. I'm still hoping for a Ripper elimination sooner rather than later. I'm also surprised that Wayne and Raj are both still in.
Yeah, but they've just been good guys. They haven't done anything wrong. Like, seriously.
Yeah, but like from a writing perspective,
Yeah.
like two of the same kind of character.
They should just be the final two. Like,
It's
screw it.
whenever Raj comes out, that's when one of them's being eliminated. That's how we'll know.
Oh, sad.
That, or maybe they're gonna start arguing about it.
No, they would never. They're bros.
You're right.
Unless-
Why would I even doubt them?
Yeah. All three of them will be in a poly relationship. It'll be fine. All right. I think that's all we got to say.
Yeah, that's a little bit light, but yeah.
Yeah, I know.